What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me on this inaugural live stream from my studio here. I want to thank my wife Shelby, who's taking her lunch break and spending it with us to model, so we're all safe from the outside, and I can touch her and be close to her because I live with her and she's my quarantine partner. So what we're doing today, we're just going to be talking about just some ways you can use V-flats in a studio, and we're just going to have some fun. So it should last about 45 minutes to an hour. Definitely ask me some questions. I'm going to try and get over here to the chat and answer any questions you guys have. And also, probably the most important thing that everybody's interested in is we're going to be giving away a couple V-flats. Probably not on the live chat, but definitely like right after. So click the link in the bio if you haven't already signed up. Just go to nextlevelworkshops.com. It's also scrolling across the bottom there. And you can go ahead and check out a way you can win a V-flat. So first thing we're going to do, though, we're going to go ahead and just jump right in. I want to kind of talk about the different ways that you can use a V-flat, kind of what they're intended for, and then hopefully we can get to some of the more or less traditional ways, rather. So first thing, I've already got it set up. I've just got a small beauty dish here, and I've got the white side of the V-flat. So V-flats, really the intention of them was for to bounce and basically to add and subtract light. So we've got a white side, and you can see here we've got a black side as well. The black side is going to eat the light. The white side is going to bounce the light back. So right now we've got it set to where we've got the white side, and I can show you a different angle here too. So that's just a little test shot we did. So I've got it pretty close to her right now. And with V-flats, or really any reflectors, proximity is going to be key. So if I move this closer to her, it's going to bounce more light back. If I move it further away, it's going to bounce, bounce more or bounce less light. So we're going to start with it a little bit away. Also, Raven's down here too. She's being such a good girl. All right, so let me go ahead and jump over. Let me grab my camera, and we're going to go ahead and just show you how we can kind of utilize these V-flats just to take control of the light. All right. So for these, we're just going to kind of do more headshot type stuff, just so we can see, just really the effect of these V-flats. So we're going to start with it, just kind of, I would say it's about 2 or 3 feet away from her, and then we're going to move it a little bit closer, just so you can kind of see what's going on and how that's affecting the image. All right, and go ahead and keep the same pose for all these. We'll do one more. I think you gotta. All right, that's good right there. All right. All right, so we've got this coming in. It's a little dark. I'm gonna move this around to the front too. Raven, I'm gonna have you move. Sorry.
Sorry, Raven. Here, girl.
All right, so like I said, when you're talking about trying to get used to this whole computer control Surface Live thing. So when I move this a little more to the front, it's not going to be bouncing directly off anymore. So really, you just got to think like wherever this light's spreading, it's going to bounce back and hit her that way. So it was just a little too moody, I think, for my original shot. So I brought it a little bit around to the front. And I think I can up that power just a tiny bit. And perfect. All right. So right now it's a little farther away, so it's not actually doing really anything because the light's basically hitting it, and then it's kind of dissipating by the time it gets to her. So I'm going to move this closer now. So now we've got it, it's almost right next to her. If I pull this back, it's going to be right in that shot, but I'm going to bring it in a little bit closer. All right. So if we go ahead and A-B these two, the one on the left is going to be the where it was further away. The one on the right is going to be where it was bouncing a lot of the light. You can really see, especially in this area right here, how much light's getting bounced back. All right, so on the flip side of that, though, we've got the black side of that. So basically, the same thing is what was happening before was that it was not reaching her. But let's say you have a white wall and you want to create a really dramatic image. What we're going to do is put this black side right next to her. It's going to take this light, it's going to eat it up and create a really dynamic image. So go ahead and snap one more. And now we have a really, really high contrast image. So if I kind of A/B the white side versus the black side, you can take control of that light a ton just by adding in the black side of a V-flat. So the other thing that we're pretty much good with the main use of a V-flat. Now another use that I use it for a lot, which although it wasn't really intended for that, was as a background. So if anybody's not familiar with these V-flat world V-flats, basically they're foldable. We can take them down like this, and we can take them with us, which you never were able to do before with the 4 by 8 foot giant V-flats that we always had. So these are awesome because you can take them on location, but you can use them a lot more. And there's a lot of different ways that you can use them you may not have been able to use with the previous kind of DIY versions. So what we want to do now is we're going to go and show you how to use these as a backdrop, which again, like I said, there was never really the intention. That was never really the use for them, but it is handy. You can kind of have a little studio right at your fingertips. All right. So all I'm doing with this is I kind of just put it up, kind of put it into a V, and where we were already getting, come this way a little bit, and one forward right there, perfect. Awesome. So if you look at these shots that were on the white background, they actually are almost dark gray. I mean, just because of the inverse square law, the light's falling off because it was pretty close to her. I had to turn the power down, and then it allowed the light, or didn't quite allow the light to reach the background. Now we have a completely black background, so we should be able to get so we have a pure black background right there just by flipping it around, putting it right behind her. So on the flip side of that, though, we're going to go ahead and switch this to the white side. And then I'm going to bring in another light just so we can turn this and create it into a high key, kind of pure white background. All right. Can you go and push 3 or push 2 and then enter? 2 and then enter. Yeah. Thank you. Like I said, I apologize if I accidentally leave it on the capture one thing too long and I'm not doing it. We're a one-man show here, so we gotta. So all I'm doing with this is I'm taking just a bare bulb strobe and I'm kind of angling it a little bit up into that V. What that's going to do is it's just going to take that light and create a high key background. I haven't metered it or anything, but we're going to go ahead and just kind of play with it and see where we end up. So I'm actually going to turn off the key light just so I can get an exposure on the background. And the trick with these, so it's a little bit, it can come up a little bit. I'm going to move her and the key light forward a little bit because I don't want too much kind of bounce back. Because if I have too much bounce back, like the light hits that background, it's going to bounce around and it's going to start to wrap around too much. And I don't love that look. It works sometimes, but I'd rather just kind of be able to control it a little bit more. All right, so we still have that key light off. I'm going to bring the power up on that background light. All right, and just a little bit more. And I think I can go and turn that key light on now. All right, so now with just a relatively quick, simple transition, we went from a black background to a white background just by flipping to the other side of the V-flat. So that's kind of the main uses there. Another way is, like, let's say we've got this big window out here, and you want to take a shot and you don't want that light to hit them. If, let's say, like I was the model here, you can use this to flag light. Or let's say we wanted to use, actually in a much more practical example, let's pretend like we want to, you know what, let's not pretend, let's just do it. So we've got this white wall here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this light right here. And what I'm going to do first, though, I'm going to actually move this out of the way over here. Can't really see anything. All right. So I'm just going to move this, put that right there where it's not doing anything. My goal for this is I actually want to light up this wall. You can already see it on me on this video that this light is hitting me directly. It's going to be a little more noticeable when I actually do the flash. So we're going to go and have Shelby stand right here, and we're going to take a shot with that come this way, a little forward for me, right there. So we're going to take it without the flag. And let's see. So where you really start to see it, and I realize I never switched it back over for you guys, and I apologize about that. So where we see it, so let me go ahead and flip you to the other one where I was showing you what we're doing. So right now we've got this light, no flag, and it's just, we got some direct light hitting her right here. So when you take that shot, if I flip back over to capture one here, you can start to see, like in this, here you're starting to get that really, really harsh direct light. So, other one. This isn't zooming out. There we go. All right. So we've got that. What I want to do now is I want to put this flag up. And what that's going to do is it's just going to block the light. So flag, block, it's you can call it whatever you want. So we'll just go ahead and put this right here. Just to, basically all we want this to do is prevent the light from hitting her directly. So I'm just putting an object in front of her. You can see it on that video feed that it's literally just hitting that light. What I'm already noticing though, if we switch over to this other camera, is that it's only allowing, if we come around here, let me step over here for 1 second. It's only hitting this. So what I need to do is I need to take this flag and put it around the back of here. So that way I can get that full white background. All right, and I know I'm gonna have to turn that background light up a little bit. You can go ahead and stand in. All right. All right, so now in comparison to from this one to this one, we don't get that real hot spot on the cheek. So we get a nice evenly lit portrait with a white background where I'm flagging the light that way. So let's go ahead and let's do something a little bit different. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this guy down. Let's move that light out of the way. So let's put this over here. So another way that I like to use these as a white background is not actually just as the background itself. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to bring in this this large octabox. You can use an umbrella, whatever you want with this. No, I'm good. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have this as my background, and then we're gonna use kind of how we just did it as a flag, but we're gonna do it a little bit differently and use it as a background to where you can still get some rim light as well. That guy. You want to check the chat and see if there's any questions that are... It's right there. Yeah. Hello.
Anthony says hi to me and Raven.
Hi, Anthony. And don't forget, guys, if you haven't already headed over to the link in the description to enter to win a free V-flat, go ahead and do that. We're doing 2 winners. And that being said, I want to shout out my sponsor, V-Flat World, for allowing us to do this. So.
Anthony Romano says he loves how quick it was to switch sides with V-flats.
Yes, it's super handy. That is super, super handy.
And then people are reminding me to switch from cap to 1.
Yes.
And he likes to see you rocking the hand sanitizer.
Yes. Speaking of, I need to re-sanitize here. I hope everybody's staying home, staying safe, staying healthy.
I hear a Wesley.
We got my other pup Wesley here.
Wesley, here.
Here's the other. This is my other dog Wesley.
Can you sit, please? Sit, Wes.
Good boy.
Boy, that's a good boy.
All right, so for this first shot, we're not actually going to be using the V-flat quite yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to be using it as a pure white background. Go ahead and take an itty step right there. Perfect. So basically this this octabox back here is going to be the background. So kind of like we did before, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the key light. I'm just going to turn on the background light. And that's pretty good. So it's a little tall though. I'm going to lower this. The thing is with this type of look, if you have a little bit of the edges, it's really easy to kind of Photoshop it out. So it's not really a problem at all. Like I just lowered it and now there's more in the corner, so in the top corner. All right, so now I can kick that key light back on. And all right, so with this, we've got basically a pure white background. It is a little off-centered here, so I just got to move this over a tiny bit. But what I want to do, and I want to show you how you can use the V-flat a little bit differently, is actually by opening this up, and we're going to throw this on the black side. I'm going to come over here to do this. All right, so what I want to do is when I come over here, I'm going to slide behind these two, and I'm going to put this directly in front of this. Actually, Shelby, can you hold this for me real quick? I need to adjust just this angle. So my goal is to get this V-flat to be pretty much completely flush with this, and I just need to angle this up just a tiny bit. And now we can go ahead and lean it back. And I want to switch you to the other camera just so you can kind of see what this is doing. Essentially what we're doing is we're taking one light source and we're creating 3. So if I switch you to this one, and I'm going to pull this off and move you around a little bit. So if you see this over here, notice we've got essentially a hair light up top, and we've got a couple strip boxes to the side. So what that's going to do is that's create nice rim light and hair light by just blocking off the softbox. One thing we're going to have to do though now is that because we're covering about 80% of the light now, we have to go ahead and up the power of that light. So just to check things out again, I'm going to go and turn that key light off again. And I'm just going to go ahead and throw this this background light up to full power. Come this way just a tiny bit. Perfect. So we're going to go ahead and rock it up full power. And we can start seeing, I can probably zoom in a little bit. I was getting a little bit of flare. So we can see we've got basically a wraparound with a black background. So before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and switch away from Capture One. And we'll go ahead and throw that key light back on. And just to make things a little bit different, so we're not getting the exact same look every time, I'm actually going to turn this off so I'm not running a cable too far. And we're just going to switch up the lighting pattern. We've been kind of sticking with loop and Rembrandt basically the whole time. But what I want to do now is I want to start with butterfly light. For anybody who doesn't know, butterfly light is just kind of from up top, angled down. It's used for beauty lighting a lot. It's supposed to emulate a butterfly underneath the nose. I don't really see it personally, but it's also called Paramount lighting, which is where Paramount Studios back in old Hollywood would use this technique a lot. So I need to.
Am I still doing the same pose every time?
No, you can switch it up now. Just when I was doing the kind of the ABs. All right, so let's turn this guy back on. And we'll go ahead and let's switch it to do landscape here. Perfect. And it's a little hot on that. All right, so it's a little bit hot on the on her right side, so I'll just go ahead and bring this down a little bit. I can also just adjust her a little bit. So right now she's a little bit off-centered this way. I know you can't tell from that angle, but so I actually need her to come this way a little bit, right there, perfect. And a little bit that way, right there. And I do want to, all right, that should be good right there. All right, so we're starting to get rim light and hair light out of one light. So if I turn that off and I just wanted the black background, it's easy. So this is basically be with just the black background. But I think if we A-B these two, we get the one on the left is a little bit more dynamic than the one on the right. Basically, you just have a little more separation there. And let's say if she takes off her jacket, where we've got a, so we'll go and put that here. So if she takes off her jacket, we've got a kind of black on black. If I take the shot just as it is, she's going to kind of fall into that background, and it's going to start looking like a floating head at some point. So I'm also going to adjust this a little bit and angle it a little bit. This light was just a little bit high and creating a little bit too many shadows. All right, so we'll do one more. So we still have that background light off. All right, that looks a little better. But we're still losing her. We're still losing her kind of in the the background. So that's where we would come back in here. We'd turn on this background light and just get some of this So now we've got a nice separation, nice rim light, again, with just 2 lights. Now, what I want to do here is take a second V-flat. Right now we've only used 1. Can you go ahead and push enter, please, Shelby? All right, so another thing that's cool about these foldable V-flats as opposed to the just the traditional ones is there's some alternative ways. You could technically use the old one and do this if you have a. I use Paul C. Buff. These are Paul C. Buff DigiBees. On the key light, I have got just the DigiBee 400, which is 160 watt-seconds, and on the background light, I've got a DigiBee 800, which is a 320 watt-second strobe.
People say Wesley is cute.
He is. Wesley is cute. Okay, so I'm going to move this camera out of the way. I want to show you kind of what we're doing with this. So go ahead and stand back in there. So remember earlier when I was talking about how there was a little bit too much shadow? I moved the light a little bit to make up for that. But another thing that we can do is we can add a reflector underneath. One thing that's really cool about these V-flat World V-flats is they're foldable, so you can actually kind of create a little reflector table just like this. You don't have to hold it, just hold it stay by itself. So I wouldn't recommend leaning on or using it as a composing table or anything like that. But you can technically, it's just not overly sturdy when it's like this. If I had her sitting down, I could just kind of lean it and have it rest on her lap. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and keep the standing poses. So. Yeah, come up all the way to it. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to do one kind of side by side without and one with. So I just did the one with. Now I want to take one without and do the same pose. Perfect. And I want to show you the difference between those two just in the shadows. So if I A-B these two, the one on the left is the one with the reflection, and the one on the right is without, and you can really see there's a lot more shadows in the underneath the chin. So it also kind of lights up her top a little bit, which is good. So that's just one of the other ways you can use these. All right, how are we doing on time? Oh, good. We got some time, you guys. All right, so while we're speaking of rim lights, let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and put this big ol' guy away. Another thing you can do too with this is if you wanted to create colored rim lights or something like that and you wanted them on both sides really easily, you can put a gel into this softbox. I posted a shot recently from a workshop that I did where we basically just stuck a gel right here on the right by the strobe head, and then that created cool colored rim light and hair light. But we're not going to do that right now. Let's put this guy away. And for this next shot, we're going to kind of go back to the V-flat as a background. So we're going to use the black side. All right, so we're going to throw this right there. So you can probably hear, if you're not familiar with the V-flat World V-flats, you can probably hear in my microphone that they are Velcro, which is really handy. So it's black on one side, white on the other, and you can you used to, in the old versions, you used to have to flip it over if you wanted to shoot on the black side. But let's go ahead and let's put this here. So for this setup, I'm going to do 2 different V-flats and kind of stagger them a little bit. And what this is going to do, and I know that camera up there is probably about to lose me here. No, I'm good. All right, you can see it from there, which is perfect. So we're going to bring this light back in. And I want to say again, if you haven't already signed up to win a free V-flat, click the link in the description, and that'll take you to a landing page where you can sign up and win. We're giving 2 of them away. After this wraps up, we're going to go ahead and draw the names. So. I am going to announce on Instagram, and obviously I'll send an email to the winner, because I'm going to need to get your address so we can send it to you. Okay, so let's flip you over to here, just so we can kind of see a little bit better of what's going on here. So on the top camera, you can probably see that I was kind of staggering these V-flats a little bit. So basically I've got just the normal V like we had before, and then I've got another kind of V over here, and I'm shining a light directly into that. So again, we're only still using 2 lights. And let's go ahead and have you. Yep. So like I did before, I always like to start with the background light just to make sure we're getting the exposure we want. Come over a little bit, right there, and take an itty bitty step back. Sorry, a little bigger than itty bitty. That's good right there. Raise this up a tiny bit. I'm actually going to have you sit for these. Yeah. I'll put you there. All right. All right, so right now I've just got the background light on. And that's bouncing into this V-flat over here, wrapping around and creating a rim light like that. One thing I'm noticing with this is I'm getting a little bit on her nose. So I'm gonna have her just angle a little bit kind of away from camera. I'm sorry, away from the light, so you're left. That's good right there. So still, we don't have that key light on, just the background light. And for this, we'll do a serious face for this one.
Serious? Okay.
Yes, serious.
It's hard for me. I'll try.
So we're gonna kick that key light back on. And yes, square up the camera, perfect. So with this, we're starting to get just a little bit of rim light on her right side, camera left. But the cool thing about this that makes it really easy, what I love about this setup, is that we can take just a gel and we can change the rim light to any color. Whereas before, if we wanted to change the color, we would have had to completely, take it out of the softbox, and that's just kind of a pain. So with this, we can just take a gel, we can just slide it in here. And now we can change the rim light to any color we want. So right now it's a blue. I think it might be blue steel. I don't remember. It's one of the... No, it's fine. I know I said to do that before, but it's okay. So now that we got the rim light, or the key light in. So all we have to do with that is we can just kind of play with that color. And if we want to raise that up, get a little more rim light, we can. And we're about to add in a third V-flat. Because now I want to have, this is not a necessary step at all, but I want to have the, kind of the fill underneath. And so notice with this one, I'm just laying it on her lap. So before I was able to kind of fold it up onto itself. With this one, it's just resting on her lap, which is great because it acts as a posing table. And actually for this shot, what I want her to do is actually kind of grab the edges because that gives her kind of a power pose. And let's put this, uncross your legs. Perfect, just like that. Awesome. And we're starting to get a little bit more fill back up into that, underneath her chin. What I do want to do though, is I want to kind of play around with this, and I'm going to throw a grid up on here. So the grid, all that's going to do is take your light beam, and it's just going to narrow that a little bit. So let me go ahead and show you what I'm doing here. So we've got this just honeycomb grid. Let me actually take part of it down so we can see. So it's right here. It's just Velcros into the light. Oh, perfect, thank you. And all right, so one thing that happens when you add a grid on there though is that you start to, anytime you put material basically in front of your light, you're essentially blocking some of the light. So you'll have to increase the power a little bit, just a touch. I don't want to do too much. Actually, I want to do a little more, just a little more. And let's switch to a different camera here. All right, so this angle gives you a little bit better of a idea of what the V-flats are doing. And I'm also I was at f7.1. I'm gonna go down to f4 for these because I really kind of want to get a bunch of a ton of, where I didn't want the haze before, now I actually want it because I think it could create something kind of cool kind of on her right side. So all I have to do with this is move this back a little bit. So as I move this back, basically that's just going to reduce the amount of light that's hitting her. Because the only light that's really wrapping around and hitting her directly is this little sliver here. So if I move this way, that light source becomes bigger. So we want to move it back a little bit, and that's going to kind of help to where it's not so much wrapping around. So another thing too is inside of this little hole we've got all bunch of white. So it's bouncing off all the corners. So we can essentially point it at any part of that and it'll do the same thing. So that's a little better. So basically what I did was instead of having it angled directly at this part, I angled it into where it's actually bouncing into the corner back there. And it helps a little bit with the, and again, this is just the background light. So, I don't know. Here, let's put this on a, well, yeah, I will. I'm gonna put this over here. Put that there. All right, we're giving Shelby control the chat here. All right. Because I'm apparently really bad at...
what's the 24-inch foldable beauty dish from Pulsey Buff?
Yes, so all of my modifiers I'm using right now are from Pulsey Buff on my lights, obviously except for the V-flats. But now that we've got that, I've kind of got that background light where I like. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the key light. All right, Shelby. And if we're noticing, it's very overexposed, and that's because I went from 7.1 to f4 and didn't adjust the power on my key light. So that was a very non-scientific way of doing it. I just kind of scrolled my thumb down a little bit, and that's getting better there. So basically what we have, we've got a kind of dynamic looking image with some blue rim light. And it's just something you can play around with. So as I said before, if you want to change the color, let's change the color to red. All you do with this, because we don't have like a softbox or anything on this, we're able to change out this. We were able to change out this rim light color really easily. Just a matter of putting the gel in, taking it off. In my case, I slide them in, slide them out with that. And
people are commenting on the versatility of having multiple V-flats and how you can have a studio virtually anywhere.
Yes. So one of the cool things about the V-flats is that I take these on location with me all the time. When I shoot on location, I don't shoot on location a ton, but when I do, it's nice to have these as an option, because really it kind of just ups the production quality of your shoot. If somebody kind of comes in, and this image is bothering me because the red light's way too hot. So let me fix this real quick, and that should be better. Let's do. All right, that's better. All right, so now we've got a red image that isn't entirely wrapping around her face, but I think what we want to do now, I've showed you, I don't want to give all my secrets away, but I do want to try something different today, so we're going to move this out of the way and put this over here. I'm gonna bring it back to just one V-flat here. As far as I'm assuming you're asking in order to help them move, like the reality of it is, unless you put a sandbag, I guess, on the top, it's not really gonna, just because there's so much wind, it's basically a giant sail. Yeah, if you're gonna use them outside, I would rock them with an assistant. Literally the first time I ever used V-flats, I used them outside actually. And I use them with an on-camera speed light, which if I had a speed light with me right now, I would show you how to do that. Because it's actually a kind of nice thing. You can take a speed light and create a nice giant, light with an on-camera flash. All right, so with this, we're gonna try something that I've never tried before, so could be awesome, could be terrible, who knows?
46 minutes.
Yeah, that's perfect. So I'm gonna move this out of the way just for a second. Are we all caught up on the chat? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I wanna create kind of I'm gonna put this directly behind her. My thought with this shot is that we can have, all right, so this is kind of the angle we have here. What I want to happen is there to be kind of a strip of black, a strip of white, a strip of black. So basically we've got a strip box right behind her. And then we've got the black V-flat as two edges there. So again, I've never done this before. I kind of just had this idea today. So we're about to see if my idea works. So let's go ahead and have you sit down again. And first things first, I want to, where did I put that? So as I've done all day, I want to turn off the key light.
The grid's still on.
Yeah. This is actually where I really want the grid on. I'm going to turn my light on. You can put a ponytail up.
1 moment.
So for this one, I want her to have a ponytail with this one, just because I want to have no hair kind of blocking her face, so we can get that wrap around from this strip box. And I have a feeling this could work. We'll see. This is how half of the images that I create come about, though, is I try one thing and it doesn't work, and then it kind of leads to something else. So we'll hope for the first time ever, maybe we'll get one that actually works. So, and again, I know I've said it a couple times already, but make sure you hit the link in the description. I want you guys to all be eligible to win the free V-flat. There's some guidelines on how you can do that if you click that link, and it should be pretty straightforward. So we're giving away 2 V-flats thanks to our sponsors, V-Flat World, and they'll ship them straight to your house. So, you got one? Yeah, that's perfect. All right. So again, what I was saying, what I want to do with this is I want to create a.
Serious or?
Yes, let's do serious for this one. I usually wouldn't want you right up next to this, but this is a really thin strip box, so I could get like an actual softbox, and that might work better, but.
Someone asked if this will be available later if they want to reference it.
Yeah, it should go live onto my YouTube. I've never done a live on YouTube before, so I got to figure that out, but. All right, and come over. So this is one where I have to be very, very kind of specific about where she goes, because I want her, you're right, right there, perfect. And again, I just have, oh wait, no, did that one flash? Okay.
It was crazy.
Yeah, there's some crazy hairs there. All right, so this is kind of where we're at right now. We've got, I think we might be onto something here. Let's bring this closer. All right, so I brought the power of that background light just so we don't wrap around so much. And that's good right there. And I'm just gonna go ahead and turn this key light on before I forget. And I maybe might switch up the modifier. I've used the same modifier the whole day, so just for fun, I might switch it up. But if this looks good just as is, I'm just gonna keep it. All right, so we've got, can you do is it possible to do a higher pony?
Yeah.
So
You want to be able to see it right now?
Maybe a little, like just up in the top. All right, she's going to, I guess, get another ponytail or something like that. Basically, what I'm going to switch back over to Capture One and kind of explain why I want a higher pony. Up here, I could either, what I'll end up doing is I'm going to end up raising the image up a little bit so it's not cutting the top of her head off, and then just have it so it doesn't look like she has really short hair. And then see if we can't maybe, do you need the spray to get the flyaways away? Okay, so we're going to try and get those flyaways gone, and then also just maybe make the pony just a little bit visible. So. And again, all I'm doing with this, it's a 2-light setup. I've just got a gridded beauty dish right here because I really, really, really want to make sure that this background stays black. So I'm putting the grid in there, and just so you can see it, let me flip it around. So it's got like that, so it's just the egg crate grid. And what I want that to do is basically make it so none of the light goes too far and hits that background. And we got Wesley back. All right, that's perfect. That's great. Come this way just a little bit. Just lean that way. Right there. I think that maybe how we had it before would be better.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think I liked it better. Yeah, I think before.
Want me to just put it a button?
Oh, that would be perfect. As tight as you can get it, basically, just so we don't have the.
I don't know where those hairs are coming from.
It's not a big deal. This is all conceptual here. This is like, again, this is just kind of I had this idea, so let's try it out kind of thing. One thing I'm running into is all of these flyaway hairs here. So, although, because it's pure white and also pure black, it would be a very easy Photoshop fix. Just kind of make this edge a little cleaner, make this edge a little bit cleaner, and then just kind of anything in this, yeah, that would be an easy fix. So not the end of the world. A lot of times when I put a light directly behind a model, I like this. This is good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so that'll be an easy Photoshop fix. But we're gonna bring this this back in, because for this one now I really want this kind of, I'm gonna have her kind of grab the edges. I want this kind of power pose to kind of bring her arms just like that, exactly. And then come this way just a little bit right there. And a little bit more. That should be good. That's way too bright. What am I thinking?
To captain like a spaceship maybe?
Yeah, something like that. Later I want to do something else where I have two of them and it looks like the Westworld logo. So another thing I'm going to do is I realize that I was at F8 again, or F4. So I'm going to go up to F8. And now, again, I've just got that background light on. That's a lot better, because we're still getting pure white now. We're not like, we can bring that even further down and still get pure white. Just a little lean to your left right there. Perfect, right there. Hold that. A little more, right there. And I forgot to turn the key light on. But we're looking good there. I think that's Wesley. Hold on, buddy. All right, and a little lean, perfect. And lean forward towards me a little bit. And chin up a tiny. That's awesome. Do it again. And do a couple more. And I'm just gonna snap a few. And lean a little to your right. Right there, perfect, hold that. A little back, right there. This is like very, very, oops, I forgot to adjust my, see, this all happens. I like adjust my aperture, but I haven't looked at my camera yet, or my computer, so I didn't know that I was underexposed. That's getting better. And let's bring this back. I just want a little more light on her face. If I wanted to, I could really, really like take this as a, do this, actually hold that, like look that way. It's not quite that way, like right here. And then lean back a tiny bit, right there. And chin down. That's good there. All right, let's bring that. You wanna go outside, buddy? Come on, let's go. All right. Actually, I like it straight on more. That's good right there. Hold that. Cool. I'm digging that. I think that looks good. Let's snap a few of these and then let's go ahead and let's bring this a little lower though. Right there, perfect. So I'm going to widen this up a little bit. All right, I'm digging that. So here is kind of that shot. I'm going to snap a few more, and then I think we can go ahead and wrap this up. That's perfect. And do a couple more, and 2 more. Cool. All right, guys, I think that about wraps it up. If you haven't already, head over to the landing page, the link in the description. That'll allow you to enter for a free V-flat, and we'll go ahead and I want to kind of keep this going. I know it's we're doing this kind of in a time of crisis right now, but if you guys are interested, I would love to keep doing these live streams. I think they're fun, and maybe by the second or third one, I'll figure out how to use this stuff. But anyway, in the meantime, head to that link, enter to win a V-flat, and stay safe, stay healthy, stay home. Thanks for watching.